about to kid it. Well, yes, we are live on the stream. We have not started yet, but we are paused at 5 seconds. Is everyone here paused at 5 seconds? Are we all ready for that? For
Yes,
the
I
go?
am
Okay.
ready.
I'll give you
I'm
guys.
all ready.
I'll give you guys a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. And just start talking
All
because we
right.
don't have any transition.
So, welcome to the BTL Game 1. We all thought the pause was going to happen in the game, but instead it was in the production booth. But I'm still excited to get this going. I love the team comp coming out of Dino. Definitely not something I expected. I actually see even an aftershock on Swain, which is very interesting to me.
Whew, interesting choice there in the top lane as Dino Club is deciding to 5-man this bot lane. Looks a little bit tricky here. And they do have an Ezreal in this bush.
It's so
Oh, as the Dark
unfortunate.
Binding hits. Oh. Right
Oh,
off the
and
bat, that's going to be first blood going over to Kale, and I don't think that's what you want at all.
Yeah, you definitely don't want it on her. It's so funny to me too because I did see Loud One just sitting like in the bot lane, like
Yeah,
unlucky.
what do I do? Do I do something here, or do I just stay here and just pretend to be a part of the bush? I don't know.
Yeah, it's so hard to say.
So
One thing I would have liked to see Dino Club do a little bit after their invade though, is like I really think that they should have like ran up and like ate the Shaco traps. Like I'm kind of surprised that they
yeah,
didn't do that because if they did that at the Raptors, it would have heavily slowed down his clear. And not only that, but if they did like almost like a re-invade right on like onto his Raptor pit right there, they could have actually taken the full Raptor camp away from him and kept him at a really low level because he probably would have tried to contest. But instead, we're gonna see them choose like a nice, safer early game. I completely understand that. I do think it's fine, especially you already got the first blood. You're already sitting pretty. But man, Rim Almighty looks
ooh,
like he's
this
in trouble
looks a
here.
little bit dangerous here for Rim Almighty as the Nautilus walks up, lands the root onto Rim Almighty. Hits the hook to follow up. He's ignited, burns flash, chasing down. Rim goes forward and dies to the Ezreal. Oh, but Coach Kirk coming in, able to get at least a return kill as we get a little 1v1 between the support and the AD carry. Just doing a little bit of autoing back and forth between this rock, rock and hard place. As it looks like the Ezreal's going to wrap it up, and that's going to be a 2-1 trade going over to
Yeah,
The
Conquer
Ezreal
just ending up
Gogurt.
being very fortuitous for Ezreal. Gets him pretty far ahead early. Like, this is definitely not what you want out of the Morgana Kate bot lane. It definitely helps kind of negate a lot of their impact. And we're going to see Piss Cheese actually just invade the Volibear straight up.
really getting aggressive, burning Ignite, and that's going to be Coach Kirk coming in for the defense. But this should be a blue buff going over to Gogurt as they flash over the wall onto Coach Kirk. He is going to be going down. Oh, but they're not done yet. That's going to be the Delightful Jew double kill going over to the Ezreal.
Man, what
Really
started out much
unfortunate
as an
trade.
early game, like it's such a good early game. He's now 4-1 this early.
Whew. That is not what you want against this Ezreal at all. You can expect to have a Sheen coming pretty soon, and that's not going to be fun.
Yeah, already 1,000 gold difference separates
Whew.
Aiden from the Caitlyn, and it kind of negates the whole reason you went for this pick. Otherwise, you'd almost rather have something like a Jinx, or just something that doesn't have the same like mid-game power trough that Caitlyn can run into.
Yeah, because you really don't want to be playing Caitlyn from behind at all, right? Like, you want to be the aggressor in that lane. So to play it from this far of a deficit right off the bat is just so bad right off the bat for Dino Club.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially because like it also hurts like
Ooh.
the strength
Jacob
that
going
Volibear have.
invisible here. But that's going to be the Delightful Jew coming in onto Akumio. He's going to get super low and flash out. Oh, but Delightful Jew follows up with a flash of his own. And looks like they're going to try and trade. Delightful Jew trying to run out. Going to see if maybe they can get the Kale. And that's going to be Piss Cheese playing the Delightful Jew. Another trade going probably in the favor of Gogurt.
Yeah, and honestly, like as much as I do like Dino Club in a controlled game, if there's anything that Gogurt absolutely loves, it's a fiesta.
Oh, absolutely. And plus, in addition to that, they're playing with subs right now. So, like, they're kind of playing directly into Gogurt's hand in a way, where if there's a chaotic game and it basically becomes a solo queue game, that's really their familiar territory, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that too. And then not only that, but like a lot of the early game plans of Dino Club are just so stagnated by like what had transpired in the early game. It doesn't help either that Dupless is playing something like Kale, which just kind of leaves like a hole, I would say, in the mid lane when it comes to pressure.
As there's a little bit of a trade onto the top lane. Saucy Monkey getting chunked for about half of his health, but he's still doing pretty even in the CS. You probably expect Swain to have a little bit more of a lead here against the Shen, I'd imagine. But still holding out pretty evenly in that lane overall, just being in the island that is top lane.
Normally I would agree, but the fact that, Shin can take the door and shield, and we also saw him decide to go for the aftershock, I think that takes a lot of power out.
Ooh,
We're
as
actually
his
gank
cheese
at the
is
top lane.
coming in, and this is going to be a dead saucy monkey for sure. Another kill going over to Piss Cheese. He's now picked up 2 kills and has 150 gold shutdown available to him. It's really looking like it's the Shaco Ezreal fest here right now.
Oh yeah, they've basically got almost everything they want out of this early game. They're so far ahead. And then Shaco's just one of those like completely game-defining picks when he gets ahead, but they can be completely useless when he's behind. So the fact that Ezreal is basically supercharged into this game, and same with the Shaco, is extremely fortuitous for the
Ooh.
side of Gogurt.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're getting a little bit of trading back and forth in both the mid and the bot lane. Dupless getting dropped pretty low here as I'm Piss Cheese is kind of hanging around looking for some ganking opportunities, but Dupless is playing pretty safe as Volibear is looking like he might be looking for a gank of his own. And it will not, as the Orianna is backing, just going to continue dueling out in this bottom lane.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I do think that in a way Dino wants to slow this down for sure, considering how the early game has went. I think it's really
Hmm.
just all about making sure that Gogurt doesn't start stacking dragons along with their comp as well. And then not only that, but just trying to get as many levels as possible as you get to Dupless. He hit his first power spike at level 6. He starts becoming really strong at 11, but man, once it's 16, that's usually when Kale starts taking over the game.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole theory with Kale is that it's a ticking time bomb, right? Like if it hits a certain point, she's just going to be able to run away with the game no matter what the deficit is. Even if you have a 6k gold lead, like it's going to be hard to bring down a level 18 fully powered Kale with ult at the end of the day. So they're really trying to, I think, focus, slow the game down, really bring it back into their comfort zone and focus around just kind of scaling into the late game.
It's just going to be difficult, especially with such a fed Shaco and then the Shin, like almost invisible submarine that can potentially
Hmm.
happen in the bot lane or near these dragon fights. Um, Honestly, as just as a whole, this game is definitely going to be difficult for Dino Club to make sure that they stem the bleeding because there had been a lot of bleeding in this early game.
Yeah, I am questioning kind of the thought process behind the Swain pick a little bit as Gogurt's going to pick up this Air Dragon pretty quickly, pretty easily, not going to be contested. But Dino Club has been known to give up the first couple of dragons if they're not in a position to contest. So probably well played by them, just kind of giving it over, taking the L, and then moving on.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, but again, it just gets terrifying because like since they have so much early game pressure in both the bot lane, which normally they shouldn't have, and the jungle, it just definitely puts them on a timer. Um,
Oh, as there was an
so
Oriana ult onto Dupless. He should be able to get out of this, but he's turning around as he's fighting it. We're actually going to do some pretty good damage as there's another trade in the top lane between the Swain and Shen. Pretty balanced back and forth, just two top laners going at it, the same old song and dance.
Pretty much, and then not only that, but like I think basically the Ori ult was expecting the Shaco to be able to go to the wall, but I think he had already used his Q, probably, and then he was also in the middle of farming Raptors, so he wasn't quite in position. And then we're gonna see
Uh,
Coach Kirk do a really nice roam, but I think he was caught out on some wards, it seems like,
yeah.
and so he's now gonna have to go back to the bot lane.
Yeah, so he's going to just retreat on back with his tail between his legs back to the bottom lane as we resume the farm festival. But it looks like the Shaco's getting a little crafty in the top lane. Oh, looking in for a gank here on Saucy Monkey. He's going to get 3-man dove. That's going to be an immediate evaporation. I'm Piss Cheese came here to play.
Oh yeah, he did, and this is definitely one of those things. I still agree with you that the Swain pick just looking a little bit susceptible because I kind of expected them to either just go for their enchanter angle, ended up banning themselves, and then didn't also go for the tank, which I think like for example, if he was a tank that would have made that dive a lot harder.
Yeah, because he really just just disappeared
my
off the
God,
map
like
after all
that.
those damage. Whoa! But that's going to be a Shen ult. This might be a 2-for-1. Great binding by Coach Kirk as the TP is matched by the Swain coming in. That's going to be the Caitlyn ult coming down, hitting the Shen, doing no damage, basically. And that's going to be look like the end of the fight. A little bit of a scuffle there in the bot lane.
Could be a
But,
dive coming out
I
here.
spoke too soon.
But they just get the TP and the plate.
Dino Club is looking like they're on the retreat here as the Shen is pushing on. Oh, dodges that narrowly. Has to use the ult to get away, unfortunately, for Dino Club. Would probably have loved to have that.
Yeah, you definitely love to have that, but sometimes it's better safe than sorry. I think if he managed to get caught, there could have been a scenario where he gets hit by the Oriole. But that's where I would have done more like if I get hit by the taunt, I would then try to ult after because it would cancel at least the pullback from the Oriole, considering it is unstoppable. But Delightful just trying to again play this game slower, just trying to be a little bit more controlled about how these fights will end up. And I definitely don't mind it because at the moment, a little bit of the bleeding has been stemmed. It was almost a 3,000 gold lead, and then now, but it's still about 2.5. And Gogurt is definitely trying to stay on the offensive.
Yeah, another thing I'd like to point out is if you just take a quick look at the minimap, look at the wall coverage in comparison. Like, in terms of vision, like, it looks like Gogurt is just so much more aware in terms of where they are in the bot side of the map. As I'm pissed, she's going in immediately, smiting for the slow onto Rim Almighty as he gets evaporated again. Coach Kirk probably going down as well. Aiden 7 is unstoppable. Gogurt came here to play, even with subs looking like the #1 team in the BTL this season.
Yeah, I definitely am super surprised about how this went, and it just goes to show you that like how far creative early games can go from the early level 1 hiding behind the bush just to try to get the advantage on the Caitlyn Morgana, and then not only that, but then you also factor in the invade right after into the blue buff, and it basically has been a lead that Gogurt had maintained since those activities have happened.
Yeah, as Shen gets a nice little chunk of damage. Saucy Monkey getting half health there after that trade. That top lane Shen is such a perp. As there looks like there is a little bit of action going on in the mid lane. Coach Kirk just coming to say hello, see what's up in the mid lane, maybe have a quick cup of tea, and then be on his way back to the bot lane.
Man, the thing is though is that if I was Delightful, I would definitely try to get this camp and I would try to reset as soon as possible. I think going bot lane is your best bet.
Oh, is that outplay with the Orianna ultimate to stop the Kale ult as the Shaco appears and Aiden 7 gets a solo kill onto Rim Almighty. This is just going disastrously for Dino Club right now.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I said they were stemming the bleeding, but then all of a sudden it just starts pouring. You've got about a 4,000 gold lead now being built up for Gogurt, and man, it just like as much as they are a late game team comp, it's really going to take a lot of throws for Gogurt to stay on this game, and it's going to be an execute, I believe.
Yeah, an execute going over to. Oh my lord, this is just hard, but it's so just clean on the side of Gogurt, really just camming in and just kind of surprising me even. I mean, they look pretty coordinated and pretty well laned for a team of subs right now.
Well, see, that's kind of almost like the interesting thing is like I almost feel like if Gogurt had played their normal roster, it would have probably been a little bit more controlled and interesting from Dino Club. But then knowing the fact that like they're basically like super pressured in this game 1, I think has really helped like Gogurt to sit back and actually like focus on this game heavily. And man, they're really showing up.
Yeah, and that's going to be the second dragon of the game going over to Gogurt. It is going to be the Ocean Soul being available, so that is definitely going to be of presence for both teams kind of wanting to get in on that action. It'll be interesting to see. Oh, as the Nautilus hooks in on Coach Kirk here, he is going to get chunked by Rimmel.
Good mechanics by
But going to get out all right and maybe get rid of the sword in the process.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious if you're Dino Club, like what exact like draft adaptations you want to do, or if you just think the early game was so disastrous that's really what hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell, right? As the Shaco looks like he's wanting some more. That's going to be a good dark binding going on. Is Coach Kirk going to be able to get away as Delightful Jew is coming into the bot lane? Looks like I Am Peace is in trouble. He is going to get dropped. That is going to be 2 kills going over to Dino Club. Finally getting something going their way.
Yeah, it looks like they might even be able to catch the Ori out, but she does have flash and phase rush, so it should just be an ult into a flash over the wall.
Yep.
She's definitely holding it, but man, she just kind of decides to die there instead.
Oh, as Rim Almighty gets chunked! 8-7! What was that? Wow!
Yeah, what an absolute monster. There's the advantage you have when you are a 6-1 Ezreal at 14 minutes. Your power spikes are much higher than they normally are at this spot, and he just hits absolutely everything as he runs Rim Almighty down.
Yeah, the second you think it's all going and turning in Dino Club's favor, 8-7 just turns it around, really showing up as the substitute. Even we're stepping into pretty big shoes with NA Uzi being out here, really filling in the shoes well.
Well, I'd like to say, 8-7 is no slouch himself. He is still like a D1 Master Tier ADC.
Oh,
He is still-
absolutely.
and also, I remember whenever he was subbing in for, because there was a time for like a couple weeks where he was actually the main ADC as NA Uzi stepped down. But ooh, we got something going on in the top.
Oh, Saucy Monkey barely staying alive so far. Oh, Saucy Monkey stays alive and gonna go and live
Oh my
just
goodness.
barely from the Shaco boxes. Whew, that looked like a surefire death for him, but they managed to turn it around, get a kill on Piss Cheese. But Delightful Jew, nice flash out of the Orianna ult to protect himself. Oh, but that's a flash taunt coming out from the Shen. As Delightful Jew is going to try and just bear crawl away so slowly. Is he going to get the shield? He's going to make it out. All right. Good
And a
job
lot
for
of
Dino
wasted time
Club.
actually for Gogurt. So that definitely is extremely good for them. They brought the gold lead back within 2,500, which still isn't good, especially with this turret going down, making the gold lead back to 3,000 yet again. But the problem is man, Caitlyn needs so many items to get going. Dupla still needs about 5 more levels to really feel it, as
Mhm.
well as some more items. And you just kind of wonder if like Kayla's going to be able to reach all these tricky players, such as like Shaco and Ezreal in these team fights.
Yeah, I mean that's really the name of the game, is how much can the KO do at any given point in the game, right? Because if Dino Club is able to kind of keep this pace and kind of maintain control of the map like they've been doing, they have a pretty clear path to victory in just letting that KO scale really hard into the late game. And really it just becomes that Rim at that point would just be a supplement to that KO damage and just kind of be like the second fiddle. But really, the MVP is Kale, just kind of ripping that damage out the mid lane with a little bit of support from the Caitlyn, obviously.
Yeah, the only thing though is like I wonder if she's got enough support, because like I feel like if there was at least 2 tanks on the side of Dino Club, it would be so much easier for Kale to be able to function in these fights. Instead, she has to try to make sure that like the Swain and the Volibear are able to frontline long enough. And with how fed Gogurt is, I'm not quite sure that they're actually going to be able to frontline as well as they need.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge for them trying to get into that backline. And really, it seems like they really just have to pick their fights smart and really just play around the objectives that they need to win the game. So, what are you thinking in terms of this next dragon here for Dino Club? Do you think they should kind of pressure it, go for the contest here, or maybe just give it and play for soul and try and keep it away from Gogurt?
Honestly, it's really difficult to say because you do not want this Gogurt to be on Soul Point, but the problem is that they still have no lane control at the moment. And Ezreal is massive, but the problem is he's going to be even larger at the next dragon fight. So if anything, I do think it would be better to try to contest this, but do not do it in the choke point against Orianna.
Yeah, this looks like a bad news bears kind of fight for Dino Club as they blast cone over towards the blue buff spawn. Gonna try and approach it from a different angle. Delightful Jew leading the charge. Oh, looks like he almost found Orianna. She's just gonna run away as they
even though
clear these
Ezreal
wards.
is super powerful here, I can only imagine at the next dragon fight he's going to have a lot more things that he wants. Looks like they're going in for the engage.
That's gonna be an Orianna ult, and this I'm Piss Cheese is just ripping the back line. Rimmel dying. This looks terrible for Dino. But that's going to be a Kumio going down in the fight, but also Rim Almighty, as Dupless is just trying to get something out. He's going to get a return kill at least, trying to push out the CS waves as Delightful Jew's trying to run away. And that's
I'm
going to
not
be...
quite sure what happened, but it turns out that Saucy Monkey ended up not basically being around his team at all.
Damn.
Another kill going over to 8-7. He came here to play.
Yeah, I definitely think that basically Dino Club did almost have like a good angle for it, but man, Piss Cheese just absolutely destroyed the backline. And not only that, but then Saucy Monkey was able to get completely separated from his team, and he didn't even participate in that fight at all. And honestly, that
Yeah.
does not look good. You've got Soul Point and a 5,000 gold lead on Gogurt, and I honestly don't think that Dino Club can really bring it back at this point.
Yeah, it seems at this point it's a little bit too far gone. At this point, it seems like there are still ways where Dino Club could hypothetically get a pick, right? But the thing is, Gogurt has actually been very good with their vision control this game. They've been disciplined and making safe plays, kind of playing around the mistakes of Dino Club in their positioning and really just exploiting those mishaps.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is like I would believe they'd be able to get this back, but it's still only 20 minutes. And the thing is like, do I believe that Dino Club can hold on for 20 more? And
Yeah,
that's where I start to have that question.
it's rough. I mean, it's going to look bad, especially if you think about what happens if they get Soul, what happens if they get a Baron, what happens if they get an Elder Dragon. Like, is even Kale late game scaling going to be enough to do that? And I
Yeah.
honestly don't know, and I don't know if it will.
See, I definitely agree with all those points, and I think you brought up like a really good point there, and that's the fact that right now Gogurt has so many options to force exactly what they want out of Dino Club. They can basically be like, hey, you're either going to contest this dragon here, you're going to contest the vision for Baron, you're going to contest Baron itself, you're going to contest our siege. Like basically, Gogurt kind of can do whatever they want.
Just dictating the pace of the game absolutely right now. As Ezreal's just throwing out some farms in the mid lane, throws out the ult to clear the wave, as it looks like we're just going to get some ward clearing here coming out from Dino Club. And I'm Piss Cheese looking for a sneaky play onto the Shaco. That's half of Saucy Monkey's health going out immediately. And he's just going to send the clone in, do a little bit more damage, and Saucy Monkey's going to get out with Burning Ult.
Yeah, and then right now, Ezreal is basically almost completely at his strongest. I'd say generally Ezreal is one of the strongest AD carries right now, especially when he has the Sunderer, he has the
Oof,
Grudge, and then he's
so
so close
impressive.
to the Mana Mune though. It's already at 48. It only takes 360 stacks to fully proc. Now it's at 351, and it's only going to take about 3 more Qs on even just minions, and he's going to have the Mana Mune ready to go.
Yeah, that's not looking good, and that's not what you want. That Ezreal is downright oppressive right now. Absolutely dictating the pace of the game is Gogurt. As Saucy Monkey just trying to hold out here, get some extra CS where he can. As it looks like Gogurt is making a play for this mid turret and this bot side jungle.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Right now, I would basically just try to start a fight around Ezreal anywhere. I think he's so strong right now. He's pretty much like so ready to basically get a pentakill, in my
Yeah,
opinion. Being 8-1, being this massive, I don't think there's anyone that can really stop him. The Swain doesn't have reliable CC. The Volibear has to run up while being completely shredded by the rest of Gogurt, and then you also have the Kale, who just is kind of like farther back in the background, who can just be poked out. I honestly think this is just prime real estate for this Ezreal pick at the moment.
yeah, it is just free pickings, it looks like. As oh, that is going to be a binding going over onto the Shen here, but he is so thick right now. Going to be able to flash out. That is going to be Delightful Jew, not giving up the kill yet. Shen is getting so low. Is he going to be able to taunt over the wall? No, he will not. That's going to be a shutdown going over to Delightful Jew. As I'm Piss Cheese looking for an ambitious play right there. That is huge for Dino Club getting a return kill at least, but at the end of the day, as soon as you think something's going good for Dino Club, they're losing a bot turret.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is that Gogurt just has so much pressure all over the map, and they're just constantly able to push. Not only that, but the dragon should be coming up sooner rather than later. Less than a minute on that time, or about a minute left on the timer, as we see Shin already pinging it super hype for the fact that they're about to get the Ocean Soul.
Yeah, that is so huge for them, especially like how are they supposed to like do any? Oh, that is going to be a hook on the Nautilus. Kirk immediately. He's gonna have to burn flash to get out of there, and that is not ideal. Not having this Morgana right now at all as the oh no, make it stop. Oh, but that's going to be the Shen TP. Ezreal coming over the wall, just absolutely dominating this game. Aiden 7. Wow. Triple kill on the Ezreal.
8 and 7, more like 11 and 1. This dude's an absolute monster.
Oh my lord, that's that 700 gold shutdown. He's got almost, it looks like he has the possibility to even flame Horizon Rim Almighty here in terms of his CS. Like, it's not even like he's just doing so well at every single part of the game right now. Like, he's
Yeah, you already
farming
look at
well.
how absolutely fed he is, and then the fact that he's still got 2,500 gold in his pocket. I
Oh,
wonder what he's going to build here. I'm kind of curious if it's going to be the Tiamat build, and it is going to be the Tiamat coming out, so he's going for the Ravenous to just have more AoE, to have more Omnivamp as well. I was curious if he was going to go GA, but why would you even go GA when you're absolutely this huge and you already feel like you can't die?
yeah, this guy is basically immortal at this point. It looks like the only way I see of Dino Club really getting back into this game is a fight where they get a shutdown on the Ezreal immediately, as there is a TP coming into the top lane, and it looks like Nautilus might be looking for Dupless here. Oh, that's a flash hook coming in. Dupless burns his flash. That's going to be the Nautilus ultimate coming out. Dupless kiting backwards. Orion ultimate dropped on Dupless. He's getting very low, but he's able to kill ult and survive the fight, get a heal, and he's still going aggressive. Meanwhile, down south, Dalton Delightful Jew is staying alive, and Aiden 7 gets hit by the Dark Binding. Rim Almighty just trying to kill him and not. Oh, so
This is where the
close.
Ocean Dragon just really made the difference in the fight. They're just so far behind, just kind of getting smacked in the face with its 8,000 gold lead.
Just outscaling with the healing from the Ocean Drag, just barely getting out with the health bars and able to come back in and slowly re-engage with the regen from that Ocean Drake. And that's looking like they're on the Baron, and they're really looking about ending this game pretty soon.
Yeah, if I was them, you just, do the good old Baron, considering how much gold's there in some pockets, maybe a recall, especially from the Ori, and then you just grab your items, you basically run it down mid right afterwards, and then depending on how well your dive goes, you could end
Ooh,
up even just, like, ending the game based off of that alone, and man,
this is
Akumio
interesting.
feeling himself.
He's really just playing with fire with the 2v1 lane, is trying to get a little bit of a flank going. That's going to be Delightful Jew getting the stun down. The Caitlyn ult's coming in. Shen ult is going to be able to provide some support as Saucy Monkey gets dropped low, and he's barely alive currently, and he's going to be able to make it out. No deaths exchanged for either side.
Yeah, what an absolute insane game so far from Gogurt. And you almost think that that was just a free pickoff from the mid laner, which would be so important on slowing this game down, but it's not. And the gold lead still managed to balloon even more. It is now 11,000
Ooh,
gold.
this is just so. I mean, really, this would be one of the greatest comebacks in BTL history at this point. Am I
Absolutely.
mistaken? Like, it would be huge if Dino Club was able to come back from this game. I don't know if there's a world where it happens, but
Ezreal has a 6,000 gold lead alone on the Caitlyn.
I mean, that's just rough to deal with in any scenario. It's gotta be like the only realistic way, I said it earlier, is they've just got to find a way to get a pick on that Ezreal. But again, it's so hard with the vision control. Those wards are just suffocating Dino Club's jungle right now. And they know exactly where they're at. They know exactly what's happening around the map. And they're just able to keep that Ezreal nice and safe until he needs to just do damage.
Yeah, I also think though it's so hard with their comp. Like the fact that they have the Swain and the Morgana and the Volibear, it's like at that point the best you can hope for is that somehow Volibear's in the bush past where Ezreal wants to go, and that Ezreal just walks up and gets hit like immediately, or just gets hit by a max range binding. I don't know if there's anything else that
Ooh,
can
and
even
that's
kill
going to be a
Ezreal.
flash taunt coming in immediately onto Dupless as he drops the Kale ult, trying to get some protection, running away as fast as he can. Is he going to be able to get out? No, I'm Piss Cheese collecting that kill onto Dupless. This is looking like this might be the start of the end here if it wasn't already 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Dupless just cannot get to the point where he can carry this game. He doesn't also have enough of a front line to really help him do these fights. 2 inhibitors going down as well.
Oh,
And
and Saucy Monkey dropping. That's going to be the Nautilus living with almost. Is that how much
that's a
health?
full HP bar, wasn't it?
That was like a 2,000 like point shield. Holy mother! This is
Yeah,
just over. There's no way. Looks like Gogurt's gonna wrap this up as Rim Almighty just trying to do what he can, throw some autos out. But Gogurt came here to play right off the bat as it looks like 8-7 trying to finish off Delightful Jew and Rim Almighty, having to E out, but it was looking like the end. Oh, this is going to be the first game going over to Gogurt. 1-0 to start the series. Number 1 seed came here to play.
Yeah, and it's so scary considering the fact that basically this was like the sub roster. Like this was like basically the suboptimal Gogurt. And the fact that they have such a good game and Dino making some questionable decisions in both draft and inside of the game as well, it's kind of scary on how this is going to end up going.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, what a game we've just had. Looks like Gogurt was doing just a really just incredible job in the solo lanes of just finding those individual advantages on an individual basis. And really, I will have to point out that the Oriana actually did out damage the Ezreal that game, did 21k damage to Ezreal's 20k, with all of those ults just having a huge impact right off the bat. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Dino Club responds to this game. I think the biggest thing might be for me, I don't know about you, but I think moving away from the Swain pick seems a little odd to me.
Yeah, I never honestly I don't want to see Swain in the series again pretty much.
Yeah, it was so like it just didn't really add much to the team comp overall. So it'll be interesting to see how Dino Club kind of adjusts going forward after that game and see if they kind of adjust their ban phase at all.
I
And
think
maybe
it's going to be heavily adjusted.
I would imagine after that game. But also at the same time, like I mean, like we remember in draft we were talking about it, like how like, hey, Kate Morg is like the Dino Club classic. Like this is kind of what they like won last year with.
Yeah,
So
I think it was also just like really heads up play by doing that level one. I do think that like it's not understated how much that level one pretty much swung the whole game. And it's pretty crazy because I thought it was so fortuitous that Dino Club was able to get that first kill, had such a good early game plan. But man, the fact like honestly, it's like as much as other people showed out, and I don't even think like Loud One necessarily had a great game. It's almost like Loud One randomly is like the MVP for me because just sitting in that bot lane bush for so
yeah,
long ruined everything that Dino wanted to do because basically
absolutely.
like because don't get me wrong, Adam 7 was probably the actual MVP, but like when I think about what really swung the game and what really had the momentum, the Loud One just sitting in that back bush ruining the level 1 also ended up ruining exactly what Volibear wanted to do because it allowed the deep invade by the Shaco, and basically just that one strategy alone I feel like blew up the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, now that you're saying it, I completely agree with you 100%. I think that early game was completely just downright disastrous for Dino Club coming in at the beginning. But man, it's going to be interesting after that game. It'll be interesting to see how the Dino Club mental recovers and see if they kind of switch it up a little bit, maybe throw Saucy Monkey back on an Enchanter. That's kind of what I imagine they do. But it's going to be interesting kind of seeing how they adjust to this going forward.